Welcome into this week's edition of Crossing the Goal Line here on tristatefootball.com. Greg Shoemaker and myself, Brandon Saho, as always. This week we're going to take a look at Division 4 Region 16 teams that are looking to get into the playoffs, Greg, and you have two that are on the edge.
Yeah, right now we go to the SBAAC conference, and you've got Batavia and Norwood both having great years. Batavia's 8-0. Next week they've got Division 2 Western Brown on their schedule. Western Brown's also 8-0. And then the following week, in the finale, Norwood takes on Western Brown. So each school has a chance to really solidify their playoff spot. Batavia was number 3 in the Harbins coming into this week before they won this past weekend. So I look for them to be there when it's all said and done. There's so many teams with so many more losses than Batavia. They can absorb a loss to Western Brown right now. And Norwood's done a great job. They're flourishing in the SBAAC in their first year after being in the smallest school in the FABC. So they're at 7-1 for the first time since 2008. Again, they've got Williamsburg next week, and then they close with the Broncos at Western Brown. I like both these teams to end up making it into the playoffs. Yeah, they may each get one more loss, but they can absorb that loss, like I said earlier, to teams or against teams that have already got 2, 3, and could end up with 4 losses. And when we talk about those sort of teams, you look at the GCL North and Central, Brandon, and there's some work to be done there, isn't there?
Yeah, Shawnee Julienne just 2 weeks ago, Greg, as you know, number 1 in our tristatefootball.com rankings for Division 4, lost to Baden that week in a huge upset, and then also losing to Bishop Fenwick this past weekend. 2 weeks ago, they were looking to get a home playoff game. Now they're going to fall from maybe 14 outside the top 20 in this week's Harbin rankings, and I don't think they have a shot at getting into the playoffs after what they've done over the past 2 weeks. And that team that beat them this past weekend is Bishop Fenwick, who improves to 6-2. The Falcons are on the edge of a playoff berth. They have a shot, but they have to play Alter and Curl in these last 2 weeks. So going to be tough for the Falcons, but I think they could do it if they can win out and get to 8-2. Another team who has a chance at a playoff spot is Schroeder.
Schroeder's been a great surprise this season. They've flown underneath the radar a little bit. Gerald Warmack does a great job with that program, one of the smaller schools in the CMAC. He's gotten them to 6 wins. They've got a win over Western Hills, who's a Division I school. And then last week they just picked up a win over Hughes, which is a Division II school. So if you can win those sort of games, it looks good for Schroeder. Now, they've got Aiken and they've got Woodward. Both aren't very good teams, but they're Division III schools. So you can get some good level 1 Harbin points to end the season if you're Schroeder. I expect them to be in the playoffs. Now, Brandon, let's put it this way. Region 16 championship runs through Clinton Massey. Massey is great. The Falcons are undefeated on the year, 8-0. They've scored 62 points or more 5 times, and they're primarily a running football team. So when we look at this team, they're very good up front. And that's one of the things that when we see these Region 16 teams, I'm not sure if anybody can play on that level with them. Maybe Westfall, who's 7-1, they play in a bigger conference like Schroeder. They're one of the smaller schools in their conference, but they've continued to win games against bigger schools all season long. But Clinton Massey is by far head and shoulders the premier team and the elite upper echelon team in Region 16.
And as we look at Division 4 Region 16, we look at everybody else in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana too. So stay tuned for that on tristatefootball.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at TSFootball.